Tuesday marks 2 years since the October 7th attacks that led to Israel's devastating war on Gaza. More than 67,000 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli forces and nearly 2 million displaced. Indirect negotiations between Israel and Hamas are now underway in Egypt to finalise a ceasefire deal. Hamas has agreed to release all Israeli captives, but says the continuous bombing of Gaza poses a challenge. US President Donald Trump says Hamas is agreeing to important aspects of his 20-point ceasefire plan.
I have red lines. If certain things aren't met, we're not going to do it. But I think we're doing very well, and I think Hamas has been agreeing to things that are very important. And I think Hamas now has been, all I can say is they've been fine. They've been fine. I hope it's going to continue that way. I think it will. I really think we're going to have a deal. We have a really good chance of making a deal.
Well, for more on this is Sultan Barakat, who is Professor of Public Policy at Hamad bin Khalifa University. He joins us from Istanbul. Good to have you with us once again, Sultan. First of all, can you just give us an idea of where you think talks are in Cairo at the moment? Do you see it as like there's genuine momentum here, or is it just going to be another round of stalled diplomacy that rolls on and on like we've seen in the past?
No, there is a real momentum at the moment, but I think Israel needs to stop the bombing first. I mean, the whole idea when Trump announced on Friday that Hamas has accepted his deal, and he requested very clearly that the Israelis should stop bombing, he's done so because he understands, and I think the mediators also appreciate, that Hamas cannot do much or cannot move forward on the exchange or anything else under the current security situation. And since his announcement till today, Israel has killed almost more than 100 Palestinians. So there is no real will, it seems, on the Israeli side to make this plan work. Having said that, Hamas, in contrast, seem to be keen. They have made that initial acceptance, the half-glass full approach to the talks, and they have appeared in Egypt. I'm not sure if the Israeli delegation has yet arrived in Sharm el-Sheikh, but the Palestinians are there and they're talking to the mediators. And clearly, what they're focused on at the moment is the immediate ceasefire and the release. And they're trying to delay any discussion around the longer-term issues until they themselves understand what is entailed in the Trump plan.
From what we understand, Israeli and US negotiators actually won't attend those talks in Cairo until Wednesday at the earliest. I guess they're assessing how things are going. What can we read into that, do you think?
Well, I think Israel's position, they want the release of hostages, and then there should be a small full stop. So they want the release of hostages, and then they want to engage with Hamas and the others to implement the plan in accordance with Netanyahu's vision. And that is the total demilitarization of Hamas and the Gaza Strip and so on. Now, the problem with all of this, twofold. One is that the original plan that was discussed by the 8 Arab and Muslim countries is not exactly the same text that was released by Trump and Netanyahu. And despite the fact that the Arab and Muslim states swallowed their pride and moved ahead, Netanyahu seems to be determined to take it even further. Now he's detailing his own vision and his insistence on what should happen to Hamas, and that is total eradication as far as he's concerned. Now, of course, Hamas is very unlikely to agree to that at this stage.
Yeah. Is this all going to come down to Donald Trump putting pressure on Netanyahu? Because it really feels like he's the one who's been pushing the Israeli Prime Minister into these discussions, into these mediation. Do you think that it all comes down to if Trump is going to continue to do that?
I think so. I mean, he's got his stakes in the issue has now grown manifold. He's put his name to this. He's hinged the potential award of the Nobel Prize on this. He has his relationship with the Gulf states in particular. You know, the role the Gulf states played over the last few months is very different from what they've done in the past 2 years. He understands that he's weighing a lot of interest, economic, political, for the United States, for him personally, and so on. So he is in a much more difficult position now. If Netanyahu were to manipulate him and try to use his will to implement his own plan. And the difficulty, I think, and this is maybe what the Palestinians will be looking for, is about the operationalization of all this. What are the mechanisms that are going to guarantee the implementation, particularly if they were to give up the captives, then what holds Israel accountable? And only, I think, Trump can hold the Israelis to account, because as we saw, neither the United Nations nor the whole international community can exert sufficient pressure on Israel to change its policy. And for that, I think Trump's role has become much more critical than it was before. And he knows that he has the key in his hand. I mean, he can immediately stop supplying Israel.
Of course.
And, if he wanted to do so, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Sultan. Fascinating to see how things obviously play out in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt throughout this week. But Sultan, Barakat for the moment in Istanbul for us.
Thank you.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.